morning, Bucknuts. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, December 28, 2016. I am Dave Biddle, joined by Patrick Murphy and Steve Helwagen here on a very special edition of the Bucknuts Morning 5 from Phoenix, Arizona. Patrick, you were at Ohio State's interviews yesterday and practice. Let's start with interviews for Ohio State's offensive players yesterday. What stood out to you?
Yeah, I think there were a few things. In talking with the offensive line, Billy Price, Pat Elfstein, the usual guys, you just get a sense of calm leadership from those guys. They've been here before. They know this. It's a young team. I know they don't like that word anymore, but it is still a young team that hasn't gone through this college football playoff, and now they at least they have guys, I guess, that are good with. I didn't get a chance to speak because I was talking to somebody else. But both of those guys just exude confidence, and it's a good thing to see as you head into it. Even a guy like Mike Weber, who obviously this is his first time around, he was just himself. There was no bigger than any other interview he's ever done like that. So it was nice to see from these guys. And Coach Warner was Coach Warner. I mean, he is not going to give anything away, but he's also, he understands the issues that this team has had. And then one thing with Billy Price, when he was asked about the issues on the offensive line, people were kind of sugarcoating it, and he was like, we're talking about Isaiah, right? He came right out with it. He was like, listen, he knows, we know, he's working on it, and he made, I don't know if I want to call it a guarantee, but he said that he will, he'll be ready to play come this game, and is very confident about that.
That's awesome. And I know you were that's great to hear about Billy Price being confident in Isaiah Prince. I know you were at Ohio State's practice yesterday. Not very eventful practice, I hear.
Yeah, there's not much stretching. We saw a lot of stretching. And we saw, a little bit of the quarterbacks running with the running backs, and, some catching passes. But for the most part, it was a whole bunch of very, very basic things. The couple things that did stand out, and we learned, is not going to play in the game. He picked 3, and has not even made it out there. They're hoping he flies on Thursday, so he's here with the team, but he will not play. And then
you cut out there. Hey, you cut out there just a little bit, just so the listeners can hear. Johnny Dixon did not make the trip and will not play. Just so you cut out there just a little bit, Patrick. I want to make that clear. Go ahead.
Correct. Yeah, he did not make the trip. He will supposed to fly in on Thursday, but he won't play in the game. And then Bill Davis, who the Buckeyes just appointed as a coach once the season's over, he was there. He's been with the team all year, so it's not a big surprise. But stood and watched from the end zone while the other coaches ran through practice. So he's still very much a part of his role and what they're doing here.
And Steve, what stood out to you from interviews yesterday?
Well, I saw a very confident, quietly confident team. They believe the offense is going to be able to match up with Clemson's defense. It is a rugged defense. Their front four has 3 300-pounders, including a 310-pound defensive end, Christian Wilkins, who wreaked a lot of havoc this year. They had to move him outside out of necessity because of some injuries and different things. So they've got a pretty good defense. I don't know that it's the best defense Ohio State's going to play all season. Wisconsin was awfully good back there a few weeks back, obviously. And Michigan was supposedly at the top of the list as well, and really, by all rights, did a number on Ohio State for most of that game. But, to me, the key is establishing the run. And Mike Weber only had 11 carries in the game against Michigan, and you just wonder, is he a guy that's poised to maybe go for 20 and 100 yards and that type of thing? And if they're able to do that, then it's going to really open some other things up for JT and Curtis Samuel in particular. So what I saw was a team that was, or an offense that was very confident. The offensive coordinator, Ed Warner, said he has gone against Brent Venables previously when he was in the Big 12 at Kansas, and Venables was at Oklahoma. And the thing that really stands out is that down and distance is not an indicator of what Clemson is going to do defensively. They vary up their blitz packages and their coverages, and And so it's very hard to read tendencies on this team. It'll be kind of a guessing game for Warner and Beck and Urban Meyer. You just hope they get the right information that they need to call the right plays, and that, the offensive line, which has been the whipping boy here of late, is able to execute them.
And Steve, you mentioned Venables.
It's good to hear there was no bulletin board material coming from Ohio State toward Clemson. To Patrick, here there was some bulletin board material from Clemson's players. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, Clemson safety Jadar Johnson, I believe is how it's pronounced, was speaking with us, and he said, that they had faced better quarterbacks than J.T. Barrett, which, as Steve pointed out to me earlier, they did face the Heisman Trophy winner who, won it by leaps and bounds. So that's not a crazy statement, but, he basically went on to say that he doesn't see Barrett as all that great of a thrower. He's not sure on his accuracy. And these are all questions statements that Buckeye fans have made, I think, this year. So he's watching the same tape that they are. Now can JT, once he gets in a, closed environment with no weather issues, will that get fixed? We've seen it happen before, but, it's certainly something that Urban may post up in the locker room since we all wrote about it today.
Well, great stuff from Patrick Murphy and Steve Helwagen. We have a busy day ahead of us today. We will be interviewing Ohio State's defensive players. We'll be interviewing Clemson's offensive players. We'll also have a couple of Ohio State defensive coaches. You might have heard of them, Greg Schiano and Luke Fickle. And we'll be covering Ohio State's practice today. We'll get to see some stretching and some very basic running plays so they kick us out of there. Thanks again to Patrick and Steve, and thanks to all the listeners out there for tuning in to the show. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great day. Let's hear some Buckeyes flag. That's the end of the plan.